Yo, welcome to the show where the energy's flown. It's your boy dropping heat. This is the Ozone. Step into the arena where legends are made. From the courts to the fields, watch the highlights played. Football, hoops, baseball, it's all fair game. If it's sports, we bring the fire, put respect on the name. Stats and debates, we break it all down. From the rookies to the GOATs who wear the crown. No halftime, all grind, we're setting the tone. It's prime time, baby, you're in the Ozone. Yo, it's passion, precision, the plays we dissect. From the underdogs, grinding to the Hall of Fame vets. This is more than a podcast, it's a sports throne. Let's kick it off right, welcome to the Ozone.
You have entered the Ozone with Omar and Dave.
Let's go, baby. We are here, and you guys have officially entered the Ozone. It's your boy Omar, and we got a lot to discuss. We got to talk about not one, but two struggling baseball teams that, in my opinion, revealed a whole lot of stuff that we haven't talked about and what's not being talked about. So maybe it's a blessing in disguise. What should they be doing? What should they add? Or should they subtract? We getting into all of this. We getting into a superstar calling it quits. And are we getting more NBA teams? We discuss it all on the jam-packed episode of the Ozone. And yes, I'm wearing the infamous Brooklyn Dodgers hat again, not Boston. We don't rep them cats on this show. But let's get into this show. And let me introduce the best co-host in the business, super producer Dave. Brother, it's a new week. How we feeling?
I'm feeling really good, bro. The sun is shining, but we got to talk about the overcast that's over the New York right now. New York has been getting a lot of rain lately, and I think it's affecting their mood. I think they lost their smile.
Yeah.
Brother, I think we got to get into it. Let's do it.
Let's get into it. This is the Amazing Rundown.
The Amazing Rundown.
It's about the Mets, baby. Love the Mets. All right, baby. Let's go. Get a home run, baby. Love the Mets. Let's go, Mets.
All right, y'all. This is the Amazing Rundown. This is where we cover them boys from Queens. And, man, you want to talk about a rough week. This and you know, as of this recording, the Mets must have known we were going to get into them in this episode. Because this past week, let's just put it like this. The Ozone had a week vacation from not posting Mets wins because it's been really ugly. I predicted last week, brother, when we made our picks, that they would struggle in this current road trip against their rivals. At the time of the recording, we didn't know whether they were going to get swept by Tampa, which they did. They lost 9-0, and it was just embarrassing. They just gave up. You could just tell like they had no dog in them. But then you get to the Atlanta series, right? You start a new week and you go, okay, you know, the Mets had a rough weekend against Tampa. You know, they're going to turn it around. They're going to turn it around against Atlanta. Atlanta's a struggling team, under 500. Still can't get themselves out of their way. But then the PTSD kicks in. The old nightmares kick in. Obviously, the Mets, you know, a lot of Met fans were confident going into this series because you go, okay, they kicked out the demon when they won game 162 in Atlanta last year. It's like, oh, wait, we kicked out them old demons of not being able to win in Atlanta. Then you get game one of this 3-game set where it was looking great. Mets are up 4-0. And then it implodes in the 8th inning where, you know, the Mets tie the game. You got Alex Verdugo getting hits. You already know something bad's happening. And what was a Mets strength, a great start from Peterson. Now, some could say Mendoza kept him a little too long. Maybe he shouldn't have started the 8th inning. But Peterson he was coming off a complete game shutout. He dominated for the most part in that Mets start. I had no problem with him in the 8th inning. But because they bring in their bullpen, and the Mets have had a good bullpen. I keep saying Garrett Reed. Reed Garrett, Brosabon, they have been great setup guys to get to Christ, why am I drawing a
Diaz?
blank? To Diaz. I was going to say Davis. I don't know why I was going to say Davis. But Diaz. But they didn't do their part. And Reed Garrett almost gets out of the bases loaded jam. But kind of, he let Ozuna get the best of him. And I felt like that was just games that happened during a bad losing streak. Like, it was just, once that game, I knew Atlanta was going to sweep them. I just knew.
I mean, look, the Mets lost 6 of their last 7. They're 1-7 in their last couple of games, 8 games. Brother, I'm struggling to figure out what went wrong. But this was something I also thought that, I spoke about going into the season. The Mets were so concerned about 2 different things, the Yankees and the Dodgers. And for the most part, you fared well against the Dodgers, and you lost the series against the Yankees, but we'll see what happens next time. But there are 2 other teams that you need to be more worried about, and it is the Phillies and the Braves. And the Braves are under 500 at this moment, but you helped them get there. You're helping them get there. I forgot how many games behind right now they are, but they're chugging along
I'm checking it now.
just fine. And then the Phillies, I mean, you guys won last game, but the first game you guys laid a dud. So it's just, it's very concerning that these are the teams that you need to worry about more and get those wins. Brother, what was the record? Sorry.
Yeah, Atlanta right now, as of this recording, is 10 games out. But the problem is this. Okay, yeah, they may not get the division, but when you talk wild card, Atlanta is only, Atlanta right now in the wild card is only, they're 6 games behind the wild card spot, and there's still a whole ton of baseball left. They can easily get into a run. They've won 7 of their last 10 games. But you're right. I think I think right now what's happening during this losing streak is kind of the strength of this Met team was what was in question in the beginning of this of the season was their starting pitching. And that was the biggest question. Obviously, as the season started and progressed, that wasn't an issue because you got outstanding performances from Clay Holmes, Griffin Canning, and then you had, Tyler McGill's been on and off, but then you had Peterson and Kodai, who's been the model of consistency this season. And now you look at Kodai Senga on the IL. You see Griffin Canning pitching more like the Griffin Canning from the Anaheim Angels. It seems like people are starting to figure out Griffin Canning. And obviously, Clay Holmes, although has been pitching well, he's reaching now an innings territory where he's never reached before. This is his first year starting. I believe right now Holmes is at least 81. I'm going to look into it now. I believe he's already over 80 innings pitched so far. And Clay Holmes almost is like when you're bringing up a young pitcher, it's almost like, do you limit his innings a little bit? Do you know what I mean? What do you do about that? So I do understand that they're getting some relief coming up soon, but how great is that going to be? Sean Manaea has been playing decent, but Frankie Montas, it was announced he's going to be starting. Tomorrow against the Braves, Tuesday. Frankie Montas, have you seen his minor league numbers, brother? He's getting bombed. He's getting bombed. This guy's he's giving up damn near. I'm gonna look it up. He's damn near giving up almost 5 runs a game right now. In the minor leagues right now. And this was supposed to be David Stern kind of diamond in the rough, kind of like what he did with Severino, what he's done for Sean Manaea. Get one of these guys a low deal, low risk, high reward kind of guy. And right now, he's not performing well in the minors. Let's just put it like that. He's got a 12 ERA in 6 rehab starts. He pitched 18 innings between high A and triple A. He's got a 12 ERA, brother. A 12.
Yeah,
12 ERA. He's given up 8 home runs in 18 innings. So, you're throwing him in the fire because you got him going against the Braves. I'll say this, is that if, when you kind of get into and we'll jump into the Yankees part, when you get into these big losing streaks, such as the Mets, where it was 7 games before winning on Saturday night. Obviously, if this recording, we don't know if, they're able to, win the series. I like their chances. They got Peterson on the mound, so I like their chances. But this exposed the weakness that I think, like I said, that we talked about coming into the season, which is their starting pitching. I think David Stern has to address that at the deadline. David
Stern?
They need to
making sure.
Yeah, that's their GM. That's the president and GM. Yeah, David Stern. So, you probably don't know him because the guy came from Milwaukee. But he's one of those guys, brother, that, obviously, and I kind of like, I'm getting sidetracked a little bit, but I like those hirings. I like when you bring in, when you can get a GM that comes from a small market team that doesn't spend a lot of money. When you're that means you have to evaluate talent well, because you have to be able to get good players at a low price, or you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like they got a better eye in evaluating players. So you bring him into a team with an unlimited checkbook, kind of got the best of both worlds. So I think the Mets are going to have to do something big, and they're going to have to get a big arm. Kodai Singh is going to be out until August. Like I said, we don't know what the second half is going to look like for Clay Holmes. Griffin Canning is, as I said, back to Griffin Canning, although he had a respectable start against the Phillies. But they're getting to him. Is that somebody you trust in the playoffs? And I get Sean Manaea's success last year, but we don't know what we're going to get from him. And then Frankie Montas is the biggest question mark. So they got to address the pitching.
Yeah, brother. And, as we're about to get into, the week ahead, the Mets, they don't need to be perfect. That's the problem. They don't need to be perfect. But you need to.
They don't.
They don't need to win every game. Honestly, at this point, because of the week that they had this week, I think that at least if they go even, if they win, out of 6 games, they win 3 of them, that's a better record than last week's, and I think that's a win that you want to see moving in the right direction. Now, obviously, we don't want to see just 3 wins, but 3 wins, I think, is like the bar at this point of what we want to see. We want to see them at least go 500 for the week. They have,
I got
to go for it, bro.
Because when you have champion aspirations, I don't all right, we got through this funk. Now we need to go on a winning streak. I don't want 500 ball. I don't want, not after a losing streak like this. 7 games, you're losing to division rivals. You know what I mean? I need to see now a 7-game win streak. I need to see, you know what I mean? We need to make up for the losses, because right now they're tied. As of this recording, they're tied with the Phillies. Obviously, head to head, Mets are in front, but they're tied for first place. The Mets are one of the best home teams in baseball. And I know home advantage has not really been a thing in a lot of these sports now. It's not as it was before. But the record proves it. The Mets are a much better home team. The Mets than they are a road team. They are a struggling road team. I believe the Mets are under 500 on the road, if I'm not mistaken.
They're 19 and 21.
They're under 500. So this team needs home field. This team needs that. So you can't afford to go 500. You can't afford to have a week that they had before. So I need to see an uptick. I need to see now that winning streak. And I'm gonna keep the same energy as we talk about the Yankees. But that's what I'm gonna need. I'm gonna need to see an uptick. Because right now, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think, I get it. They didn't score in the middle game. They scored 1 run in the final game in the Atlanta series, 2 runs. But what I saw Saturday was something, okay, maybe the offense is getting out of their funk. Juan Soto's starting to produce. Juan Soto had himself a good series in Atlanta. And obviously, it's been brushed over because of the loss, the losing streak. But Juan Soto's starting to turn it around. Pete Alonso is doing Pete Alonso things. And now Brandon Nimmo. So it's like, obviously, the Francisco Alvarez, I know that's a big conversation about whether they should send Alvarez down. Alvarez made a couple head-scratching mistakes in the Atlanta series. He did hit a home run on Saturday. I like Francisco Alvarez. I think, and I'm gonna keep this energy with Anthony Volpe. Sometimes you gotta just let these. You gotta deal with the growing pains. You gotta remember that there's still a young player playing in a big market with so much expectation. So I think you gotta give him a little wiggle room. Just let him find himself. The Mets are good enough to allow that. I'll just put it like that. The Mets are good enough in their offense to allow Francisco Alvarez to find himself so he can get back to what he does. But they need to turn it around. The bullpen, Reed Garrett hasn't been as good. So it's a lot of things, but I'll pose this question to you, brother. And I kind of think I know your answer. Are you worried right now from this lose? Are you worried right now about the Mets based off what we've seen this past week?
I'm not worried, but I am concerned. Because at the end of the day, and this is something I'm going to say I've been harping on, the Mets need to focus on their division rivals. They need to focus and make sure that they have that. And like you said, you brought up the away record, and they got swept away. So now you're going to play the Braves coming up this week at home. Show them why you need home advantage. Show them why they don't want to play you at home, because that is going to go a long way for you guys should, come around playoff time. And yeah, I'm not worried. I'm concerned. I want to make sure that they're winning these games that they should, especially the Braves. At that point, they weren't the record that they have now. You gave them the stat pad.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yes,
How about you?
let's
Real quick,
get into
before we move on.
I'm not worried because I think that the Mets will make. This Mets team is good. I have not changed my opinion. I still believe they are the best team in baseball. But I do think they got to add another arm. And like I said, I don't know if I said it last week or I said it 2 weeks ago. When your team is struggling, it's a long season. It's going to happen. But you want it in a situation where you gave yourself enough cushion so you don't relinquish a lead in any division. And the Mets although the Mets are tied, the Mets have done it. Within this 7-game losing streak, they have found themselves still in first place. Whether they're tied, whether they got out of it and then came back, they're still in first place as of this recording. You want to be able to get a good evaluation and know what your team needs as you're approaching the trade deadline. And I think with this 7-game losing streak, with the Mets, I would hope that they've come to the understanding that we need to add another arm. That's what we need to do. We need to get another starter here because we do have now some real question marks when it comes to our rotation. And so I'm not worried. I would be worried if the Mets make 0 moves in the deadline and we're still getting these performances where the Mets are slugging their way to wins. Because although it's sexy, we all know in the playoffs that pitching wins championships. We all know that. So I'm not worried now, but maybe after the deadline and we continue to get this erratic play from the Mets, then maybe so. But let's get into the week ahead, brother. The Mets have to face Atlanta once again, but this time, it shifts to Queens, 4-game set, followed by a quick road trip to Pittsburgh for 3 to end the weekend. So it's a jam-packed. The Mets have no days off. And they got a late game Sunday night. I know a lot of players hate that. They hate the Sunday night games, and then they got a game the next day. Although I know the travel from Philly to New York is nothing, but I'll go first here, brother. Man, you know how I feel about 4-game sets, man. They're really difficult to win, but the Angels made it look easy, and we're going to talk about that pretty in a minute. But I think the Mets. The Mets are a great home team. After getting swept by Atlanta, I think they're going to want to get their get back. I think they're going to want to, impose their will, and I'm hoping they do. So I got the Mets winning 3 out of 4 in this series. I just think the Mets turn it around. I like what I saw Saturday. I really did like what I saw Saturday from them. They put a lot of good at bats. Juan Soto's getting hot. Weather's getting warmer in New York. Juan Soto can carry a team, so I like where they're going. And I got them winning 2 out of 3 against Pittsburgh. I'm going to give Pittsburgh a game just solely because the Mets haven't proven that they can do much on the road. I think Pittsburgh squeaks one. So I'm not a 500 record, but a 4-2 week for the Mets, and I think that'll do them some good.
And out of the 4-game set, I got them winning at least 3 out of 4 as well. Which one, I don't know. I'm leaning towards the 3rd game, but we'll see. They haven't announced who the pitcher will be, at least as of now. And then for the Pittsburgh, I want to see a sweep. I want to see a sweep against them. They're 30 and what? Something. I forgot their record right now. I was just looking at it. They're 30 and 48. So sweep them.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. I think they have the ability to. Like, let's just put it like that.
We have, if anything, I have full confidence that they can, at least against the Pirates. Please.
Right. Yeah. You would hope. Right. So. Let's Mets. They can bounce back. I'm not worried about that. They can bounce back, but let's win tonight. Obviously, we don't know whether they're going to win the series against Philly. So let's see. Hopefully, they do. But we got to get into another struggling team because the boys on the other side of town ain't doing so well either. Let's get into it on the Pinstripes Report.
The Pinstripe Report.
Alrighty, guys, this is the Pinstripes Report. This is where we cover the Bronx Bombers or the Bronx Bombers. Man, the Yankees, the Yankees has had just as bad as week as the Mets did. And I'm gonna bring it up because it's something that I want to, and it's the ozone. After a great sweep of the Royals, the Yankees stink the bed in Boston. We covered a little bit of it last week. The final game, obviously, we didn't know the outcome of it, but we knew now. They lost 2-0. The offense struggled. The offense continued to struggle in L.A., losing 1-0. Then they lost 4-0. Then they lost 3-2. And, they was able to salvage the final game, which ended their 6-game losing streak, but then they struggled again with their offense against the first game of Baltimore before exploding Saturday 9-0. Now, as of this recording, we don't know if they're able to salvage the series. I do know they play extremely early. They play at 11:30. So I don't know. Dave, can you put up the score now? So, hopefully, that's a Yankee win that Dave posts. If not, it'll be a loss. But right now, the Yankees, I think it's the quite opposite of the Mets losing streak. Mets losing streak, I felt, was more on the pitching. I felt, although, yes, the Mets did have games where they didn't score, I thought the Yankees' offense just sucked. And they had so many opportunities, runners on base, not able to execute, horrible base running. Horrible. You know what I mean? We talked about the Saturday game with the Red Sox. We talked about the Friday game where Volpe steals third in extra innings. Boone protects that. Then you get the situation with Jason Dominguez. I think we discussed that as well. And then on the Sunday game, you get, the Ben Rice. It's like, bro, what is with the base running mistakes? And then we saw that again in Anaheim against the Angels. We saw that with Austin Wells getting picked off. It's fundamentals, man. It's fundamentals that as professional baseball players, you should be able to execute. And that falls on coaching. That falls on the manager, Aaron Boone. And I understand Aaron Boone is a player's manager. He's gonna have your back. He's not gonna throw you under the bus, and I respect that from a manager. However, how can I trust that you're keeping them accountable behind closed doors when the same things are happening, the same mistakes are happening every game? You get what I'm saying? Like, it's cool to not publicly, what is it? I'm trying to think of, like, crap on your players. But I would hope you're doing it behind closed doors, right? Because you can't find that to be acceptable, those mistakes. And then the Yankee hitting. As much as we've given flowers to Trent Grisham, we've given our flowers to Goldie, to Belly. You know what I mean? We've got Stanton back this week, and Stanton looks good. Stanton looks good. That was the silver lining of this. What was a horrible week for us. The Yankees are still Aaron Judge or bust when it comes to this lineup. And Aaron Judge did not have a great week. He did not. Let's just call a spade a spade. He struck out a ton in the Red Sox series. Struck out a ton in the Angels series. And this is the same issues that we are having every year, year in and year out. Honestly, since Aaron Judge has been in the big leagues, we are very reliant on Aaron Judge and solely Aaron Judge. And when Aaron Judge is not producing, no one on this lineup imposes that fear in a pitcher to go, you know what I mean? It was a little different with Soto. You got picked. You know what I mean? Soto, like, you know what I'm saying? We don't have that no more. And we got to, as Yankee fans, you got to understand that. You can hate all you want. We don't have that. And that's a little, that's alarming right now. I think the Yankees have to add another bat to this lineup. And they got to add another arm. I'm not comfortable with this bullpen. I'm not comfortable with Mark Leiter. Ian Hamilton has not, I know he's battled injuries, but he's not the Ian Hamilton that we've seen from years past. Luke Weaver has just come back. I'm not worried about Luke Weaver. Tim Hill's good, and Tim Hill's bad some games. This team is so fortunate that the American League East, the American League in general, is not, it's good, it's not great.
And that's very fortunate. That's, for the Yankees, you're first in the AL East, but, that's not something that's going to win you in October. At the end of the day,
by a game and a half at that right now as of this recording, because Tampa's rolling. Tampa's won 7 of their last 3, and they're right now putting the works on the best record in the American League, the Tigers. They beat them 14-8 the first game on Friday. Saturday they won 8-3. So they could potentially sweep the best team in the American League right now. So go ahead.
There's no plate discipline. You guys are just getting strikeouts after strikeouts. You guys are not showing anything after Judge or before Judge. Like, all right, I have something, like you said, something to be concerned about, something to at least be like, all right, what am I going to do here? And going into the season, I remember us talking about that the Yankees have to play a different style of ball this year. We wanted to see a little bit more small ball in this Yankee lineup, and we're not getting that. We're not getting that because at the end of the day, if it's slugger out. That's all it is. It's big bomb or that's it. We just don't know how to play the game. And at this point, I would like to blame the players, but you also want to blame Boone because the adjustments that are being made aren't the ones that you want to see in this skid. You lose, I forgot how many games. We lost 6 games in a row, I believe, before we won one.
Mm-hmm.
And
6, 7 of our last 8.
And that happens. We understand that this is a long season and things happen. You lose games in a row, blah, blah, blah. But adjustments have to be made, and your team has to show that they can do besides Judge. And that's not what we're seeing from this Yankee lineup. This is not the team you want to see in October right now. I'll tell you right now. This is not the team I want to see in October.
Yeah, you're talking about a .215 batting average. the last 10 games. Guys have just not produced. And then you look at Anthony Volpe, and I'm gonna pick on Anthony Volpe.
Your guy.
And I like him. That's my guy. But right now, Anthony Volpe, as I believe he was 0 for his last 25 before having a great game on Saturday. He had a couple hits, home run, and hold on, let me just put. He made some big errors in the Angel series. And Anthony Volpe, when you look at his numbers overall, I would say he's an average, some people say slightly above average, offensive hitting shortstop. But I'm starting to see a lot of mistakes defensively that is pissing me off. You're a Gold Glover. He boots the ball in big situations. Obviously, the Anaheim series, bases loaded. He bobbles the ball. It would have been an inning-ending double play. It would have been a 2-2 game. He allows eventually the game-winning run to come in. Yankees lose the game 3-2. Bases loaded, extra innings, down 1. A pitcher who wasn't showing that he had the confidence in his accuracy swings at the first pitch. Swings at a slider going outside, and you're pulling it. So it wasn't even like it was right down the middle where you're going to ambush him. He just makes... and the thing is this about Volpe. He's young, I get it, he's young. This is only his 3rd year. This was a guy, brother, I'm not sure if you're aware, but this was a guy that the Yankees turned down a lot of infielders, big infielders that were available, big trades for guys that we could have got, because this guy was just so coveted by the Yankees. Oh, he's our top prospect. He's number 3 in the pipeline, and this and this and that. And to me, they want to blame the fans for having expectations that the Yankee brass created. Y'all treated this kid like the next coming of Derek Jeter. Not the fans. The fans just took in what you guys were letting out. And now you want to be upset because the fans having expectations for this kid and he's not living up to it? You can't get upset at the fan about that. I don't know what's the options. There aren't better options, so I'm not going to say we need to get rid of Volpe. Because I don't know what is the better option at shortstop. That a realistic. Obviously, we could come up with options for Volpe, brother. We could, but a realistic one we can't. But this, like, we got to get some guys, man. We got to get some guys. We got to figure out second base. You know, DJ LeMahieu. He's had some okay games. I don't think he's the option at second base. I would like them to move Jazz Chisholm back to second base and get a real third baseman. You know, I think the Yankees got to figure out the left-handing trio between J.C. Escara, Austin Wells, and Ben Rice. You have 3 guys that bat left-handed. Good pop, all 3 of them, because Escara can play if you give him some time. But you got 3 guys who are basically pigeonholed between catching and first base. So 2 of those guys are going to be on the bench most of the time now with the return of Stanton. You have to figure that out. Sometimes, addition by subtraction might be a good thing. You know what I mean? Maybe you look into, I know Ben Rice started at catcher a couple games ago. Maybe you look at Escara and go, okay, can we flip him for something? Can we flip Austin Wells for a potential arm or for a potential position of need? I think the Yankees got to do something like that. Now, what scares me about the Yankees is, and we're seeing it now, we're getting Luis Gil back by the summer. You know what Aaron Boone said about Luis Hill, brother?
What'd he say?
He said, this is like a trade deadline move. The classic line the Yankees always say when a hurt player is coming back to justify why they're not going to make moves. You know what I'm saying? So, starting pitching, although has not been the issue for the Yankees. And I don't think it will be. I think Max Fried is... Rodon has slowed down just a tad, but Rodon has pitched well enough where the Yankees should win. It's just the offense weren't there. Clark Schmidt is pitching phenomenal now. Kudos to Clark Schmidt. Will Warren got robbed because the Yankees didn't get it. 11 strikeouts in his last start, Will Warren. And Yankees got no offense. So I don't think that, when getting Luis Hill is good, but I don't like that lingo when they use that. They always use that. And that's to justify why they won't make significant moves at the deadline. So that worries me about the Yankees, brother.
Yeah. It's something definitely it's something to be concerned about as a Yankee fan, just because this is not what you want to see from your team. You're in first place. You want to maintain that first place lead. You want to make sure that you're winning these games, and the ones that we have coming up are winnable. They are winnable, and I think I want to get into that now, bro.
But hold on, before we do though,
go for it.
I want to talk about something. So Clint Frazier, this has been a problem with the Yankees. So Cody Bellinger in the final game of the was it the Angels game? It had to be the Angels game. Yeah, it was the Angels game. Cody Bellinger goes 3 for 3. Yankees win. Next day, he's not in the lineup. Anthony Volpe right now, I believe, went 3 for 4 on Saturday. And as of this recording, like we said, we don't know the Sunday game. But right now, I don't think he's starting. There was word out that he's going to get his scheduled day off. As a matter of fact, the lineup is there. So, yes, Anthony Volpe, who's just batted off from an 0 for 25 slump. Home run, 2 hits, is not in the lineup. Clint Frazier was on the foul. Clint Frazier, former top prospect for the Yankees, which we got in the trade with Cleveland. Never really panned out. I know he dealt with a lot of concussions or whatever, but didn't pan out. He was on foul territory this past week, brother, and talked about how the Yankees are so analytic that they don't believe in players being hot. They don't. They don't believe in that. So if a guy is batting, the last 4 games, has a 400 batting average and all of this, they don't believe in that, in a hot streak. And it's just a coincidence that statement came out on Thursday, and then obviously Bellinger went 3 for 3 Thursday, wasn't in the lineup Friday. So Gary Sheffield Jr. tweets something like, wow, guy goes 3 for 3 next game. All right, you're sitting next to the coach. So I respond on Twitter and I go, wow, Clint Frazier must be on to something. Or I was like, apparently, so maybe Clint Frazier's statements are true. Clint Frazier wrote back to your boy and said, brother, that's only the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more that can be said. And this is another prime example. The guy's 0 for 25. Finally gets out of the slump, and you bench him the next game. What are we doing? For a scheduled rest day to... Yo, I almost dropped the F-bomb. How old is Volpe? 23 years old? 24? Can you check for me, brother, while I'm ranting?
I got you.
What rest day does he need? And it's like, this is why A-Rod hates analytics.
He's 24.
He's 24. What rest day does he need? We're going to get into the schedule. The Yankees have a off day scheduled. I know they played, I believe, 16 consecutive games or whatever the case may be. Judge, understandable. Anthony Volpe? And he's just coming from his best hitting performance in a month? and you sit the guy down? Let's get into the week. Let's get into the week ahead. Yeah, because it's so dumb. It's so dumb. And then you got guys like Clint Frazier that go out and say that, and you go, you know what? He's definitely onto something because the proof is in the pudding. Since the statement, brother, it's already happened twice. Cody Bellinger and now Anthony Volpe. And now you wonder why guys are so inconsistent. Because when they're hot, hey, you know what? Have a seat. All right. Yankees got the week ahead. They got a 3-game set with the Reds starting Monday, followed by an off day, and then they head back home with a 3-game set against the A's. I don't know, Vegas, Oakland, whatever. I'll let you start, brother. How do you think the Yankees fare this week?
I think they split the series against the Reds 2-3, and then against the Athletics. I want to sweep, man. 32-47. That is beatable team. That team is not good. I want to sweep against them. So 2 for 3. 2 for 3 against the Athletics. 2 for 3 against the Cincinnati.
Yeah, I got the same. The Reds are a feisty team, but they're not a team where they should win 2 out of 3 against the Yankees. Right now their record is 39. Well, they're over 500, so they're a feisty team. They're 20-17 at home, so I don't think these games will be easy for the Yankees. The Yankees are pretty much a decent. They're about the same. Have the same record away than they have home. They're 23-16 at home, 21-16 on the road. I got the Yankees winning 2 out of 3 against the Reds. As I said with the Mets, I did like the performance of the Yankees on Saturday, where their offense showed. They dropped 9 runs, so I do like that. And then I have them winning 2 out of 3 against the A's, so 4-2, 4-2 week for the Yankees. But I don't know, man. It's the off day, the way the Yankees run. Obviously, you start to think, and I can almost think that that's coming from management, where they're relaying the message to Boone, and it's just like as Clint Frazier said, you got these rocket scientist men running baseball, and I'm not a fan of it. The Yankees are too analytical for me. But what when it comes to the analytics of the ozone, quick hits is doing really well. So let's get into it, brother.
Let's do it. All right, now, breaking news, because we just got a report. As I'm right now editing the video for tomorrow's video, and we just get the breaking news from Shams. The Phoenix Suns are trading for 2-time NBA Finals MVP Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets. Jalen Green is being sent over to the Suns, as long as Dylan Brooks, the number 10 pick in the 2025 draft, and 5 second-round picks. Now, the 5 second-round picks don't really hurt you too much, but this is big. But for both teams, the Suns get a young core to work with, but then the Rockets, who were already up and coming this last postseason, and we already saw some real promise in them, now get a veteran presence in that locker room. That is huge for them, and I'm really interested to see where the Rockets go this year. This is huge. We'll obviously try to dive deep more into it next week as we cover it more in quick hits, or maybe it becomes the leading story. Today's the end of we'll have the results of the finals as well. So don't be surprised if you're getting a lot of NBA news this week. This is just the first of very many news droppings to come. Luckily they caught me before I finished editing.
All right, y'all, this is Quick Hits. This is where we cover everything around the globe. The hits are so quick, You don't see it coming. Brother, on the latest episode of the Mind the Game podcast, LeBron James made a headline saying a ring is a team accomplishment. I don't know where this ring culture thing started, especially when it comes to me, individually. He's clearly pushing back on the whole ring culture narrative, brother. Do we agree with Braun here, or is it just deflection?
Fitting enough. I'm wearing a LeBron shirt right now. But I will admit, yes, the ring culture thing definitely took a life of its own once LeBron came into the league because of the expectations of him and Jordan, the comparisons, the next coming, blah, 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 blah. But you don't get too much grace, LeBron, because you're the one who said not one, not two, not three, not four, not five. You brought this on yourself. And I get it. Those early years in Cleveland, they were a little rough. It was just you and a bag of chips playing. But after that, you just put yourself in that fire. And I'm sorry you're going to be raked through the coals for that. At the end of the day, you will always be compared to Jordan. That's just maybe unfair, but that's just what it is. And you didn't help yourself in that scenario. But yes, it definitely has increased since LeBron came into the league. I'll say that. What you think?
Yeah, I think in NBA, I think it's definitely more scrutinized. Their plays get more scrutinized. I think more than any league for not winning a championship. And I think it even dates back from guys like Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, like those guys, those greats, Karl Malone, that, when you talk about their careers, Reggie Miller, it always ends with the but they didn't win a championship. And I think LeBron, what he says is right, it's a team thing. Obviously, and LeBron's a prime example of it. LeBron didn't win in Cleveland because you said, brother, he played with basically a bag of chips. He played with guys off the streets. And you know what I mean? However, you did put this upon yourself, and I'll even take a step further, brother. Even before he made those statements about winning one, not two in Miami, you had a big old tattoo that in your back that said "Chosen One." You was coined King James before you even played a second in the NBA. So you kind of put that upon yourself. You know what I mean? But I feel both ways about it. I do think it's a deflection because when you talk about LeBron, although he is a champion, multiple-time champion, you're going to talk about his multiple defeats in the NBA Finals as well. And I think it's more of that than anything. I'll just put it that way.
The last thing before we move on is the reason why it's so highlighted in basketball is because think of the other sports. It's usually 5-on-5, but it's usually the superstar who gets most of the attention. If Tom Brady loses in the Super Bowl, yeah, he gets he gets the fire of that, but at the end of the day, the rest of the team misperforms. You got defense to blame. You have so many things outside of control.
Like Brady could have scored 45 touchdowns and still lost because he had no defense.
Right, and the same thing in other 100%. Sports. So I think that's why basketball is so right now. Like if we watch this series and we with the current one going on with the NBA, if OKC were to lose, well, who gets the blame? Shy, because you're the reigning MVP. It's just that way. It's just basketball's a little bit easier to put under a microscope of who gets the blame in that kind of sense. Right. Well, let's move it on. We're sticking with basketball though. So, according to NBA insider John Moyer, Adam Silver is expected to announce a league expansion to Las Vegas and Seattle right after the finals. What does this mean for the NBA moving forward, and are we really getting the Supersonics back?
I hope so, and I hope Seattle gets it. I hope, I know Vegas is the hotbed right now. Raiders moved there. The A's are going to be moving there. Obviously, the Las Vegas Aces has done well. The WNBA team, WrestleMania, is going to be there back-to-back years. So I know Vegas is now the hotbed for sports and betting. It's always been for gambling and betting and that sort of thing. But I think Seattle deserves a team so much. And then you look at the success of the Oklahoma City Thunder and you go, man, that was their team. I hope Seattle gets it. I think as far as what does this mean for the NBA moving forward, obviously, whatever location they pick, whether it's Seattle or Vegas, I think the Eastern Conference, a team from the West is going to have to pivot to the Eastern Conference. And I think that makes it interesting because what team goes? Do you have Memphis? Well, Memphis is not an East Coast, West Coast team. Memphis could be in the Eastern Conference. Do you put the New Orleans Pelicans back into the Eastern Conference? So that's going to be interesting because that could impact the Knicks. What if the Memphis Grizzlies goes to the Eastern Conference?
And with expansions,
you know what I mean?
Expansions, you also have players going over there. With that's
with expansions, then you're gonna lose a player. And you know what, brother? This is not on quick hits. And I just want to do it because the next question we're steering away from basketball. The NBA Finals is going, and I understand Obi Toppin is having an amazing series right now. But what's pissing me off is you got a lot of New York fans talking about we gave Obi Toppin away for a bag of chips. 2 second rounders. That was the deal. You know what I read yesterday, brother? And I did not know this. Because if I did, I would have been tweeting that to all the people who've been crying that we gave Obi Toppin away for 2 picks. Obi Toppin, we gave him away for 2 picks because it was also to maneuver some money to sign a particular player that free agency. You know who that player was, brother? No, it wasn't. It wasn't. He was already on the team.
Go for it.
But another, let's just put it like this. Knicks fans want him back. And they've been crying for him ever since we've traded him. Dante DiVincenzo. So all you guys crying about, we traded Obi Toppin for 2 seconds. Oh, we got nothing for Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin was almost a salary move, more or less, to create space to sign Dante DiVincenzo, whom he's revered in New York, whom everybody wants back. Everybody's making 2K trades to get him back. So this is where you got the stupid Knick Twitter fans that jump the gun and don't know nothing. That's it. Let it be. Obi Toppin's not with us no more. He's having a great series with Indiana. And I said great postseason. We wasn't crying about why we got rid of Obi Toppin last year in the playoffs when he was not performing that well. I digress. Brother, what's your thoughts on the expansion thing before we continue?
I really hope it's Seattle. I think that city does deserve that team back. Vegas, like you said, is the hot seat, and that's most likely where it's going to be. But if the fans had it their way, then
you think Vegas will get it? You think Vegas is in the lead to get it?
They're getting it, man.
Yeah, they're getting it. Yeah. It's just so greedy, man. It's like WWE. I agree. Now the more you said it,
the money's
there.
The money's there.
Yeah. And they don't have to build even though they don't have to build an arena in Seattle, they have the arena in Vegas. They could play at the T-Mobile Arena. Yeah, you're so right. That's gonna suck. But guys, brother, right after we wrapped up last week's episode, news broke out that the Red Sox traded Rafael Devers to the San Francisco Giants in a stunning blockbuster move. Brother, what's your thoughts on this massive trade? That it shook up the baseball world last week.
It did. So, 2 things. Number 1, thank you, Red Sox. Get them out of here. Yes. But for the Red Sox credit, all right, there's a lot of things going wrong with Devers since the offseason, and things just didn't. That relationship wasn't going to be mended. So I think the best thing to happen was to get him out of there. You're also not on the hook for any money for him, so that also helps the Red Sox a lot in that situation. Now, is it questionable? Yes, but from all the stories that come out, and we talk about this all the time, how many stories get leaked or thrown out there as soon as the players move that are gone to better pastures. They just leak these stories out about all the things that went wrong, and it's like, of course, you keep it in-house until that person's no longer there, but for the most part, it seems like this was the right move for the Red Sox, as far as a disgruntled player and everything, and getting him out of there and not being on the hook for money. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think, bro?
I gotta disagree with your whole take.
Go for it.
Because one, I think I put all the blame. I don't blame Rafael Devers. I don't. The more I think about it, the more I read about what was happening. I blame management. You guys handled it wrong with the acquisition of Alex Bregman. You didn't hear that they had conversations with Devers about, hey, look, we're thinking about bringing in Bregman. No, you brought in Bregman and wanted your superstar third baseman, although Bregman's a much better third baseman defensively. There's no argument there. But you bring in Bregman and, all right, you're playing first? That's how you treat your star? You think the Yankees are going to go get a right fielder and go, hey, Judge, move over there? You don't think they'll discuss that with Aaron Judge first? Hey, Judge, we're thinking of getting Juan Soto. Are you open to playing center field? You don't think that conversation was had before they traded for Juan Soto, the Yankees, a year ago? Clearly, you could tell Devers didn't have beef with the players. And it really wasn't about the move to first because he just said in San Francisco he's willing to play first base. I think it's the way the Red Sox managed the situation. I think that's what messed up the relationship. Now, I don't want to hear this crap about they're out of the money. Like, oh, he was getting big money. You're the Red Sox. You're not the Kansas City Royals. I don't want to hear money issues. I don't want to hear, oh, well, we're out of this contract. We don't have to pay him. I don't want to hear that. Because you wouldn't allow that if the Yankees did it. You wouldn't allow it if the Dodgers did it. You wouldn't allow it if the Mets did it. You're a big market team. I don't want to hear money concerns or whatever. Personally, I'm happy. You dropped the ball with Mookie Betts. Just got Mookie Betts ran all over it. You got ass prospects back for Mookie Betts. And you got even more ass for Rafael Devers. And you're going to see Rafael Devers eventually cook. And this brings me joy. Because all the Red Sox fans who were rightfully so, very happy that they swept us, they lost their smile 2 hours later when Rafael Devers got traded. And the Yankees smiled because he got traded, and he got traded to a whole nother league, to a team we only play once a year, and he's not our problem unless we see him in the World Series, which would be a good problem. So, I digress.
All right, brother. So, this past Friday on SmackDown, John Cena dropped a straight-up pipe bomb on CM Punk, channeling Series 2011 energies and flipping the script on Punk's legendary promo. Is this the start of a full-on feud, and did Cena just cut the biggest shoot we've seen in years?
To answer the question, yes and yes. Obviously, like the feud, it definitely makes it, like obviously everybody knows Punk and Cena, this is what they, man. Cena's able to have these rivalries with so many guys, and that's what makes the greatest that's what makes him one of the greatest babyface, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Fused with Randy Orton, fused with Edge, fused with Batista, but also CM Punk. That we were robbed of, obviously, because, you know, Punk's personal issues with WWE, Punk leaving and being gone from the company for 11 years. Because we would have had a lot more of this. One, I'm going to be honest, with the pipe bomb, Cena, initially, I was just like, bro, I didn't like it. And not that I didn't like it, but I just felt like it was overblown. People were raving about it. But then looking at it for a second time and looking at all the callbacks from the original pipe bomb, and it also being R-Truth versus John Cena tables match, which, you know what I mean? And then there was just everything, the way Cena opened it. It mirrored a lot of what Punk said, but it also had a lot of truth to what Cena said about Punk. So it definitely fuels the feud, and it's also one of the biggest work shoot promos we have seen in a very long time in WWE. Because we did see some pretty good work shoots in AEW, especially with Hangman and CM Punk and MJF and CM Punk. So in WWE, yes.
Yeah, I liked it. You know, the call out to him being a BSer, and also taking the money from TKO and all that stuff. Like, I love it. It was very, you know, you have Saudi coming up and maybe World War III. So there's a lot of things at play coming up soon. But it was a nice spin on it. A lot of it felt on the nose of exactly just reverse of 2011's pipe bomb, but it's still good. It still hits. It's not as good, but it's good.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, wrestling's going to be a little interesting going forward. Let's see.
Yeah, it definitely adds a little spice, and as you said, with the current events right now that are taking place in this country, we don't even know if we're going to get this match next week. Honestly, don't want to get into the politics of it, but I don't think it'd be a smart move to go on with the show.
Side note, I think it does happen. Saudi Arabia is a little bit different when it comes to over there. They don't mess with them too much. The money's real over there.
I'm just worried about the safety.
Yeah.
Of the guys, but this is not a political show. If you want to get that, watch the news. Brother, speaking of news, because this kind of broke the internet over the weekend. Jon Jones announced his retirement from the UFC. Brother, do we really think he's done for good, or is this just another chapter in Jon Jones' saga? Is the GOAT really walking away, or you think he's just setting it up to create a bigger bag for a last mega fight?
That right there, my friend, is exactly what's going to happen. I think we're setting up a big.
I think so too.
I think we're setting up a big mega fight, and I think they're pulling a little bit of storylines and stuff from the WWE over there in TKO for the UFC. I think this is just the leads up to something same realm and everything. But I saw that Dana White was talking about Francis Ngannou and talking about like something about him coming back, and Ngannou just like, who said I want to go back? It's just funny the way that things are being written as far as like, or put out there. This is definitely a work, I think, and I think eventually we get that fight. I think it's Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones that they're going to try to bring up, and I don't think he's done. I still think Jon Jones is the greatest of all time. There's just nobody who can pound for pound go with him in the ring, and I definitely don't think it's Tom Aspinall. But I think we see a big mega fight at the end of the year.
I agree. And I think what it's very smart what he did. Now, I don't see him betraying Dana, because just, Jon Jones, Dana White has this infatuation with Jon Jones. And then obviously it's reciprocated. So they have a lot of respect for one another. I don't want to disrespect that. But with the announcement of his retiring, I don't know how it works contractually. I don't know if maybe he needs to sit out a year. I don't know how that works. But if it works like any other profession in sports where they just have to sit out a year or so, Jon Jones has really set himself up for a big financial payday. Because now he has two options, brother. Now he has the option of Dana White giving me the money that I want, which he's prefaced that many times. He's not scared of Tom Aspinall. So those UFC fans that really believe that, you're stupid. Now, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna just call you out. You're stupid. Jon Jones ain't afraid of nobody, and I'm gonna be honest. I am not the biggest Jon Jones fan. I'm not, but I respect the greatness, and I do agree with you. He is the greatest fighter of all time. But he also, brother, he will make himself a free agent, and that means you can go out to PBC. Yeah, PBC?
I believe so.
The professional, whatever. He can go over there or whatever and hook up with Francis Ngannou, do a deal with Saudi or Netflix, and get the biggest bag of his career. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, this is a work as far as a retirement announcement. This is definitely, Dana, I'm going to give you some time to give me the money that I want to fight Tom Aspinall, or if not, I'll let the retirement linger a year, and I'll go fight Francis Ngannou for $50 million, $45 million, or whatever, and I'll do that. But I don't think Jon Jones is done.
Yeah, brother.
I want to read that. Hold on. Let me read this one to you. I know that this is my read. I want to read this one to you because I'm gonna be honest. I don't have much of an opinion on this, so I'm gonna play off. I'm gonna play off you. And I'm going to let you talk, and then I'll say whatever if I do have to say something. So, guys, news came out that over 2,800 Nintendo Switch 2 units worth more than $1.4 million were reportedly stolen from a truck en route to a GameStop. Was it in Memphis? I don't know. How has something massive like this ever happened? Let's just be honest. And what does it mean for the Switch 2 world?
As far as how something this big happens, I mean, we can just, as you brought up, it was this Memphis because all the Nike sneakers has been stolen, and that's money also been taken. I don't know, man. If I knew, I would probably see if I could get in on it, maybe ask for a hookup, But I don't know how that happens. And far as like how does this affect the Switch 2 launch? If anything, it brings a little bit more hype to it. The Switch 2 is their newest system, of course, but this is something that, think of COVID and how hard it was to get a PS5, Switch, or Xbox because everybody was just buying it and scalping and then putting it up for a bigger price. This time when the Switch 2 dropped, Nintendo, what they did was drop so many at the time that it's very hard to go and scalp these Nintendo Switches. Which is fine for Nintendo and fans who want to go in and go get it, whether you want to purchase it online or go into the store. The thing I want to say is that this just makes a little bit more hype into it. You see it, it's like, damn, people are stealing Nintendo Switches. I think I gotta go get one myself. Now, I personally am in the camp of waiting till the holidays come around and getting a few games when it does come out, or when I decide to buy it. But, I mean, there's gonna be a lot of people who have now eyes on it, who didn't already have eyes on the Switch. The Switch is fun. It's always on the go, and they did bring up, make it a little bit more powerful.
Are the graphics better?
Yeah, the graphics are a lot more better. Think of running like, and it's funny, but think of like running PS4 graphics on the go, which is really, at the end of the day, that's the PS4 look great. So put that on the go on a smaller screen, and you got something with you all the time, and you can run some games that are like graphics heavy, like Cyberpunk, which I think you've heard about just because of all the drama when it came out. But a lot of the games that are just like, this wasn't possible in the last Switch. So I think this builds a little bit more hype, I wonder what Nintendo does. They're very good at like doing things where they'll like shut down stuff. Like if you try to hack your Switch, they'll shut down your whole account. You can't use it. I wouldn't be surprised if they grab the serial codes of the ones that have been switched and brick them. So, what you gonna say, bro?
Interesting. No, I didn't know that. I just know that there were long lines for the Switch, and if you said it's anything like the PS5, I guess. I don't want to say you or whoever wants to switch, they might have to wait like a year and a half to get it. You know what I mean? And it, honestly, with these kind of stealings, obviously, this is an inside job. It's no way to, these when they load them up, it's not like you're gonna see a truck that has a big thing that says GameStop on it. You know what I mean? It's not like a Walmart or an Amazon. Most of those are very discreet. They're just in regular, unmarked trailers. So obviously it's an inside job of maybe somebody. Because I finished The Wire, right? And The Wire season 2 is it's basically it's around the story of ports and contraband and that sort of stuff, and shady doings between guys that work at the ports and the mob. And that happens. So whoever's working the loading dock and those trucks, hey, man, I got a load of, I got a big load of Nintendo Switches going on this route, blah, blah, blah. Then you get that. So I think that's how it is. But I just know that the lines were crazy for it. So I'm not a big gamer. I don't need it. I think if I lived in New York, I would probably be more because you take the subway, it gets you, on the go. But man, I barely play the PS5 now, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. I got to get back to it. But that's cool. That's cool. I'll live vicarious through you, brother, when you get it.
Yeah. If anything, we'll play it during Thanksgiving or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, brother. So
this is your read,
brother.
Because I want to answer
I know. This is very exciting because, and I'm going to get on you again because I brought this up last time, but according to the Hollywood Reporter, Jon Bernthal is officially returning as the Punisher in Spider-Man Brand New Day. What do we think about this crossover, and how do you see Frank Castle's fitting into the Spider-World? Before you answer that question, brother,
all right,
you have the time to watch the Wire and the Sopranos and all these.
Yeah, the Wire. That's a good show. One of the
and I'm not even
greatest shows of all time.
I'm not even gonna block myself for censor. You have all the time to watch these old ass shows. Brother, go and watch Daredevil and The Punisher because you are really missing out on some really amazing TV. This is the days of Netflix putting out quality content. So go watch them and then see why, besides the stuff that you saw this season from Daredevil, go watch why we're so excited to see his character return
All
to
right,
the screen.
should I watch Punisher?
You should watch Punisher, but watch Daredevil first because his character is introduced first there.
How many seasons is in Daredevil?
I think it's 3.
All right. I can get into it because I'm in the process of finding a new show. Obviously, when there's no baseball, the finals is ending today. By the way, who you got?
I really want OKC, but the Pacers have been on it.
I got a feeling the Pacers are gonna win this damn game.
You already saw who's on the cover of 2K, the next 2K, right?
Who?
It's probably gonna be Hallie.
Oh God, I'm not buying it. I'm buying the digital version. This will be the first time I get a digital version. I'm still old school. I buy the games. But I'll watch it then. Yeah, because I was debating between shows and someone pitched Yellowstone to me. I heard Yellowstone was a really good
Before
show.
you even watch Yellowstone, please come on.
But no, I think I'll get into Daredevil. I remember I saw like the first 5 episodes of season 1. I'll get into it because I gotta watch a show where there's no ads. So at least Disney Plus is no ads, so I can get through it quickly. That's why I watch a lot of HBO shows. HBO Max is no ads. I know Hulu sometimes the ads and it take me longer. All right, let's get into the quick hits question though. I love it. As a Spider-Man fan, people know that he has a lot of ties to the Punisher. I believe Punisher is the one that coined it, Webhead, to Spider-Man. I don't even think he referenced. I don't think he calls him Spider-Man. I think it's just Webhead. This is just such. I love. Obviously we saw how No Way Home ended, and it was leading to a grounded Spider-Man movie where you're gonna have Daredevil. I believe Mr. Negative is the rumored villain for this. You know what I mean? So Mr. Negative has a lot of ties to the mob and that sort of stuff, right? To the mob, right?
Yakuza.
Yeah, the Chinese mob, right? The Chinese mob, right? Yeah, so that's going to be fired because you already know that's who the Punisher's probably gunning for. You know what I mean? So and to see how he works with Spider-Man and, obviously Spider-Man is, they have different beliefs in how to handle vigilante stuff. To see Frank Castle with Spider-Man is gonna be amazing. It's honestly, I instantly thought of the Amazing Spider-Man series on Fox that we grew up with in the 90s when I thought of that. I'm like, let's go. Because if we're getting Frank Castle, we're getting Daredevil. I think the Daredevil hasn't been officially announced, but we're getting it. Bro, this is gonna be fire. I know Vince, I forgot, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Vince D'Onofrio, the guy who plays King D'Onofrio, he had mentioned in an interview not too long ago that contractually they cannot have Kingpin in a movie. They can only have him in a TV series or whatever. So I hope that's not true because that would make it even over the top if you have the Kingpin.
Mayor Fisk.
In this movie. Mayor Fisk, right. But I love it. I love it. I love it. This Spider-Man movie, this is the one. Spider-Man is one of the few where each movie has gotten better and better. And I think with the addition of Punisher, although it will be a different film from the last Spider-Man we saw because that's more multiverse, this movie has the potential to be the best of the 3 we've seen.
I know we're in quick hits, but we're still going, and I don't care. We're talking about things that I love, as you can obviously behind me. When it comes to this movie, I am very excited of what it can be. I know a lot of people who are, let's say, fans of the Raimi series and of just the other Spider-Man movies. They feel like this is too much Iron Man, Spider-Man. They equivalent it to that where he's not his own person and he has to be trained. And this movie kind of resets everything because now he's grounded. He's not using all the tech from Stark and everything like that. I'm not one.
Oh, isn't the Hulk? I forgot the Hulk is supposed to be in this suit.
He may be in it as well because
right?
I think
he's rumored. Yeah, it's rumored. Yeah.
Yeah, so
because that's the big one. Well, before I cut you, I'm sorry, brother, but that's a contractual thing that Sony has.
Yes.
Sony wanted a big MCU guy in each movie. So Iron Man in 1, Nick Fury 2, Doctor Strange 3, and I believe was rumored is the Hulk
Right.
for this one.
Right. So this is the thing. Like, I get where a lot of people are just more excited for this one because it's grounded. But this is a Spider-Man at this point who's already established. As far as like what he can do himself, we already seen what he can do without Stark Tech, and I'm excited. I'm excited, especially with Jon Bernthal. You know, and he's very known for his like M-rated or TVMA rated content that he's done with that Punisher character. So I'm interested to see what they do. Obviously, it's gonna be a PG or at least a PG-13 movie.
PG-13,
yeah,
more than likely.
But I am excited to see. You'll definitely see some Punisher killing and getting Spider-Man upset about the way he handles things. And when you watch Daredevil, you get to see more of how he feels about Punisher and the way he handles things. So I'm excited. This movie is going to be really good, but we're also about to get some more good Marvel stuff to talk about soon because we have Ironheart, which I know a lot of people are not excited about, but we...
Oh, yeah. Oh, you see, I might take a pause on Daredevil.
Ironheart drops this week, and then we also have...
Ironheart drops this week.
We have Fantastic Four in a few weeks, so we have a lot of stuff to cover in the Marvel space.
Yeah. What do you think about the prices, man, of these popcorn buckets for Fantastic Four? The Galactus one is $80.
It's a pass for me. It's a nice looking
That's
one, but
it's dope, but it's $80.
Nah, I'm good. I don't need a popcorn bucket for every movie I go see. I got the Captain America shield, and that's about good for me right now.
But you know what the thing is? I'm a sucker because I had bought the popcorn one for the Thunderbolts, and it looked so cool. And I only got it because I don't even think it was like I think it was like $3 more than getting a regular large popcorn. So that's the only reason why I got it. But yeah. So as you said, it's gonna be a big week for Marvel.
Yeah.
But guys, we can't wrap up a show without sharing you guys a highlight of the week.
He's on fire!
All right, y'all. It's the highlight of the week, and it's going to, sorry, Met fans, Ronald Acuña Jr. As Ronald Acuña in the top of the ninth of a 4-4 game robs, I want to say it looked like it was going to go over the wall, but I tell you this, the way that ball was going, if Ronald Acuña did not make this amazing leaping catch, I think the ball would have ended up falling in front of him, and I think Soto would have scored to take the lead, but he made an amazing catch after Gary Cohen kind of threw a little shade a couple innings before when he couldn't get to a ball that, his athleticism just isn't there yet. Well, he said, Gary Cohen, shut up. I'm doing this. Robs, I'm looking at it now. He definitely robs Pete Alonso for an extra base hit, but then he follows it up by doubling off Juan Soto. And things like that happen when you're on a losing streak, brother. Obviously, the Braves followed it up with winning that game in extras. What an amazing play from Ronald Acuña Jr., one of the best players in the game.
Yeah, Mets fans, I know this is a New York sports show, and we try not to show too many highlights against our teams here, but this one's a good one, man. This is a good one.
But, yeah, it was a good one. I was fighting between that one and the possessed Pascal Siakam dunk over Taylor Williams. I was really, but I thought in that moment, the catch in the ninth inning, they just tied the game in the eighth. Ronald Acuña is coming back from an ACL tear to make that play in that moment. That just adds more story to the highlight. And it was an amazing play. Highlight of the week, we are not biased. We're going to just put the best highlight of the week, brother. And Ronald Acuña, he earned that one. But guys, it's been a great episode. As you can tell, hey, baseball fans, what you thinking? We covered baseball in depth. You know what I mean? This was a fun show. Hopefully we can be a little bit easier and be a little bit more chipper when covering our baseball teams next week, but that's on them. We don't play the games for them. But guys, what we do is give y'all some love, and we appreciate the love and support that you guys continue to show us. But we're just gonna ask for a little bit of more, guys. So remember, give a thumbs up in this video, comment, share with your peoples. Right now summer's getting warmer, baseball's getting hot. Baseball's getting the swing of things. We're getting the NBA draft this week. The Knicks should be maybe hiring a new coach in the coming weeks. And can the Yankees and Mets this is where now we getting into July. This is where it starts to get real. And we got a big Subway series to talk about next week. But guys, we thank you so much. But to get all this news, to get anything that's groundbreaking, breaking, glass shattering, you have to follow us on all our platforms. We are available on Instagram, Twitter, Threads, TikTok, and Reddit, guys. Hit up your boys on Reddit. Hit up your boys on Twitter. We active on Twitter. And we active on TikTok and Instagram. We're active on everything, brother. We're active on everything. We are active on everything. Sometimes too active. But we are active, guys. So we thank you guys for your love and support. And, brother, do you want to bring them another episode next week? Some fire?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. Why not, guys? Enjoy your weekend, guys. Enjoy your week. Let's go Yankees. Let's go Mets. And we tapping with y'all next week. Peace.
It's a sports throne. Let's kick it off right. Welcome to the Ozone.